Base chapter 3, verse number 15.
Did they hear you, Yugadharma?
I don't know. Like, who is the
Who is the host?
Yeah.
You don't know. Nobody. They're not responding. I see that they are muted. So we might have to. Yeah, we might have to just go to Veda base and check by ourselves.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen, right?
I can see the screen. I can see you, but you're not host, so you can't share, right?
She can share now. She is a co-host.
Oh, she's a co-host. Oh, okay. Yeah, then you can share, I think. Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. I am learning. Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Anything to say, Mataji?
No, I was just repeating after you. That's it.
Okay. Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Brahmakshara Samudbhavam Tasmat Sarva Gatam Brahma Nityam Yajne Pratishtitam Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Brahmakshara Samudbhavam Tasmat Sarva Gatam Brahma Nityam Yajne Pratishtitam. Anyone want to recite?
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam.
Karma Brahma Dharma Vidhi Brahmashkara Samudhavam Tashmat Sharva Gatam Brahma Nityam Yagne Pratishtitam.
Okay, synonyms. Karma, work. Brahma, from the Vedas. Udbhavam, produced. Vidhi, you should know. Brahma. Brahma. This thing is somewhat Krishna.
Oh, you can see the whole.
The ending, it's cutting.
Whole line, yeah.
Yeah, it got cut off.
Is it the laptop, Mataji?
Yeah, I will move it and see if it works.
Can you press Control and minus?
Where is the control? Oh, control and minus. Okay. Oh, it's a percentage. Okay.
Okay, you should be good.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Brahma, the Vedas. Akshara, from the Supreme Brahman, personality of Godhead. Amudbhavam, directly manifested. Tasmat, therefore. Sarvagatam, all pervading. Brahma, transcendence. Ityam, eternally. Yajne, in sacrifice. Pratishtitam, situated. Translation. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Anyone would like to read, volunteer to read?
Yagnartha karma, or the necessity of work for the satisfaction of Krishna only, is more expressly stated in this verse. If we have to work for the satisfaction of the Yagna Purusha, Vishnu, then we must find out the direction of work in Brahman or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working directions. Anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called vikarma or unauthorized or sinful work. Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the reaction of work. As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, one similarly has to work under direction of the supreme state of the Lord. Such directions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said, Asya Mahato Putasya Nishvitam Edad Yagrigvedo Yajurveda Samavedo Tavarangrishaha. The four Vedas, namely the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda, are all emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 4.5.11. The Lord being omnipotent can speak by the breathing air, for as it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord has the omnipotence to perform through each of his senses the actions of all other senses. In other words, the Lord can speak through his breathing and he can impregnate by his eyes. In fact, it is said that he glanced over material nature and thus fathered all living entities. After creating or impregnating the conditioned souls into the womb of material nature, he gave his directions in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned soul can return home back to Godhead. We should always remember that the conditioned souls in the material nature are all eager for material enjoyment, but the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's for what it desires, then return to Godhead, having finished its so-called enjoyment. It is a chance for the conditioned souls to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned soul must try to follow the process of yagna by becoming Krishna conscious. Even those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of performance of Vedic yagnas or karmas.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. And I note down some points from Srila Prabhupada's lecture. Like, it is like Vedas are like the government gives you license to do some business, right? That means if you want to do business, you must satisfy the government rules. You cannot do whimsically. But it's also like Vedas are also like, laws for us. One who is a law-abiding subject, similarly, anyone who is following the codes of the Vedas or scriptures are actually working. That is the proper working. Otherwise, the persons who are violating, he is becoming implicated and they are considered as criminals. Similarly, if we defy the rules and regulations of Vedas or scriptures, then we are being implicated, the criminals, and being punished. Therefore, work should be done like yajnartha karma, that's what they call, for the satisfaction of Vishnu or supreme government. And anything performed without the direction of Vedas is called vikarma. We should not think that how is that. And in this verse, it came like, from the breathing of the Lord, the Vedas are born, right? And if some may think like, how the laws, the Vedas are born from the breathing, how is it possible? We don't, lot of people, they don't like to believe that, they consider it's like silly or something, right? Because with breathing we cannot speak anything, so how is it that from the breathing the Vedas are manifested? That's he's explaining that. That means if we think like that, that means we are calculating the strength of the God with our own capacity. But it's not like that. In the Brahma Samhita it says angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. That verse, like it says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. Every part, every limb of the body of Krishna, the Supreme Personality, can act of as another limb. Just like I can see through the eyes only, but Krishna can see through his fingers also. That is his omnipotency. Omnipotency means every limb has got the potency of all other limbs. That is called omnipotency. And when we speak of omnipotency, we did not know the meaning of omnipotency. This omnipotency is that which by his glance, the God created this world by his glance. Sa ikshata, sa asrijyata. These are the Vedic hymns. And also we this omnipotency also we will know, right? We offer God the bhoga, and then how the God honors it by looking at the bhoga. That is also we can understand. And and uh, and there is a, God has naturally in the creation itself there is a cycle. What is it? Every living being, it has to live, it has to sustain on grains. It will eat the grains and then sustain. No one can we cannot live on just meat eating. It's not possible. They have to eat grains in order to sustain. He need to, however great meat eater, but he need to eat some grains and vegetables along with the meat. That's so basically everyone is sustaining on the grains. Grains and vegetables are our actual food. And then how the grains and it should be utilized. When we get the grains, we get some energy, and then that energy need to be utilized for the Supreme Lords. So that is called sacrifice. If we use for the Supreme Lord, then it is called sacrifice. So whatever the strength we get from eating the grains, we have to use it for the Lord service of the Lord. And then for to get the grains, to grow the grains, we need rain. We depend on the rain. Where does the rain come from? It comes from the yajna, performing yajna. Yajnas are coming from the yajna is coming from the Vedas, and then Vedas, they are coming from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a complete cycle, and you get from the Supreme Lord, he supplies everything, and you get the strength, and your strength should be utilized for in the service of the Lord, not for sense gratification. And if somebody thinks, because I am now very stout and strong, let me enjoy my senses, then they are sinful. You use your strength for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, and then your energy, then we can say that your energy is properly utilized. And regarding the Veda, okay, and I found this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Majjhalila 19.14. It's called Vedanishta Majje Ardhika Veda Mukhe Mane Vedani Shiddha Papa Kare Dharma Nahi Gane. Among human beings, those who are followers of the Vedic principles are considered civilized. Among these, almost half simply give lip service while committing all kinds of sinful activities against these principles. Such people do not care for the regulative principles. In the purport, it says, the word Veda means knowledge. Supreme knowledge consists of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and our relationship with Him, and acting according to that relationship. Action in accordance with the Vedic principles is called religion. Religion means following the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are the injunctions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Aryans are the civilized human beings who have been following the Vedic principles since time immemorial. No one can trace out the history of the Vedic principles set forth so that man might understand the Supreme Being. Literature or knowledge that seeks the Supreme Being can be accepted as a bona fide religious system. But there are many different types of religious systems according to the place, the disciples, and the people's capacity to understand. The highest type of religious system is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. I think everybody knows this verse, but it's first canto, second chapter, sixth verse. It's called Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yeto Bhaktiya Dokshaje Ahetuki Aprahitam Yayatma Suprasidati. The highest form of religion is that by which one becomes fully conscious of the existence of the God, including his form, name, qualities, pastimes, abode, and all pervasive features. When everything is completely known, that is the perfection of Vedic knowledge. The fulfillment of Vedic knowledge is systematic knowledge of the characteristic of God. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedaisya sarve ahameva vedya. The aim of Vedic knowledge is to understand Krishna. Therefore, who are actually following Vedic men profess to belong to so many different kinds of religions. Most of them commit sinful activities against the orders of the Vedic scriptures. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says herein, Veda Nishiddha Papa Kare Dharma Nahi Gane. In this age, men may profess a religion, but they actually do not follow the principles. Instead, they commit all kinds of sins. And I remembered just when I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I came across this few sentences that will explain the incarnation of Lord Varaha. Varaha born from the breathing of Lord Brahma. That is very nicely explained. First, he came as a very small image, like a very small figure, like I think 2 inches or as big as a finger, I think. And then he grew into big size. But in that chapter, it explains that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Varahai, has no material form, but his form is always understood in terms of Vedas. The Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, and that breath was inhaled by Brahma. The Mahavishnu he inhales Vedas into the air, and then Brahma breathes that air, because Brahma is born from the navel of the Mahavishnu, so it's very close to Vishnu. So in the air he will breathe the Vedas, and so he is the original student of the Vedas. And from the breathing of the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of the Lord Boar. So therefore, the word incarnation of Lord is the personification of Vedas. There is just that connection is there. I happen to note down some points from another lecture also. Just I will read it so that we'll get more understanding. I can emphasize my point again. What is time? Okay. Krishna is describing in this sloka this importance of yajnas performing to the pleasure of the Lord in order to free us from the karmic reactions. Because to live in this world, we have to do karma. We cannot avoid completely not doing karma. It's not possible. But any karma we do, it binds us to the cycle of birth and death. But by performing ajnartha karma, which means karma that is performed for the satisfaction of yajna or Vishnu, such karma will liberate us from the bondage of birth and death. Any karma performed for our own sense gratification leads us to the bondage of cycle of birth and death. Krishna explains every act can become yajna. Like anything when we can do, that can be given we can do it as an offering to the Lord. For example, we are eating is everybody eats and we cannot live without eating. So but eating can be you can make it as a sacrifice. How we get the grains and we cook them, and then we cook them with love and devotion, and then offer it to the Lord with love and devotion, and then we accept the prasad. That is called Yajna. We get the prasad from the Lord. That's called Yajna, that we came across in some previous verses. And what happens with the if we do like that, and what happens if we don't do like that? If we don't offer to the Lord, that means we are eating sin only. So we have to offer, and if we now don't offer and we eat, we have to get that is sinful, and we have to bear the consequences too. So if we offer and eat, what happens? Because that nourishes our body, and also it purifies the heart, and you become spiritual. And there is one more point. And also taking prasada is like a vaccine. We are now COVID, we are taking vaccines to prevent, not to get COVID, right? So it's like this vaccine, the eating the Krishna prasad, it will protect us from the material contamination. And this is the cycle of yajna. This is recommended by Krishna, that like what is that words from Upanishads? I forget. Okay, the cycle of yajna goes like this, the all the living beings depend on the food grains from the rains, and rains coming from the yajna. Yajna is born from the prescribed duties, and prescribed duties are coming from the Vedas, and Vedas coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. This is the cycle of yajna. But for everything we depend on the Lord. Like, if we, and no matter what, how much advancement we make, can we just not eat grains, and can we say, I can live with whatever the advancement I make, I don't need the God's support? Can we say that? No, because we need rains, we need food grains, and everything we are dependent on Krishna. And also this our advancement has a very almost nothing we can do with our advancement. This is only our foolishness, that's all. And regarding yajnas, like in olden days, there is abundant supply of stuff for the required for the yajnas. There is a lot of stuff is the herbs are required, and some lot of purified ghee is required, and we need some very good priests that who can say the mantras properly. All those things are needed for the performing the proper fiery yajnas. But reason for the because of the Kali Yuga, we don't have that. There is the supply of the materials for the yajnas is low, and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that we do the Sankirtan Yajna instead, and also offer our food to the Lord and eat. These two are recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that can liberate us for this age. And this is practical for us. And it is, we don't need any food stuff. Just you go on singing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and it will help for you to get out of the karma bondage, and also it will liberate whoever listens also, and all other living beings, whoever. So it is our duty to do the Sankirtan Yajna as much as possible. And I would like to go to the next verse too, just bear with me. Anyone has any questions on this one, the previous one that I did? Can I go to the next one? Is my volume audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to the next verse, all right? Or if you have questions also, you can save it for to the end, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति यः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति यः अघायुरिन्द्रियारामो मोघं पार्थ स जीवति एवं thus pravartitam, established by the Vedas, chakram, cycle, na, does not, anuvartayati, adopt, iha, in this life, yah, one who, agha ayu, whose life is full of sins, indriya aramaha, satisfied in sense gratification, mogham, uselessly, partha, O son of Prutha, sa, he, jivati, lives. Translation. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of their senses, such a person lives in vain. Purport. Anyone would like to read the purport?
Mataji, you're not sharing screen.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Okay, where is it? I am using two screens. It's confusing for me. Okay.
You want me to read from the Veda base?
I will. Okay, I got
Yes.
it. It looks like, right?
Okay, someone else wants to read, it looks like.
316, this one. Okay. Share. Okay.
Can I read?
Just read few lines and then Gita Mala Mataji will read. Okay. Read only.
Okay. The man is full of
Philosophy.
of work very hard and enjoys sense gratification is condemned here by the book. Therefore, for those who want to enjoy this material world, the above mentioned cycle of performing yajnas is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulations is living a very risky life, but condemned more and more by nature's law. This human form of life is
Specifically
meant for self-realization in either of three ways, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga.
Mataji, you can read Gita Mala.
Okay. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performances of the prescribed yajnas for the transcendentalists who are above vice and virtue. But those who are engaged in sense gratification require purification by the above mentioned cycle of yajna performances. There are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that sensory conscious persons may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord directly carried out by the demigods. Therefore, the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness because when one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Radhika, and thank you, Geetamal Mataji. Thank you. And okay. Let me go to 16. The Vedic literature are meant to liberate us from this material world. But some people are interested in sense gratification. So some part of the Vedic literature also, it is the Vedic literature is supposed to cover everything. They are trying to include all the people, not only those good people who are willing to perform all the rituals, and not only that, and also there are some other people also, they want to, all the people need to be benefited from the Vedic literature. That's why some part of the Vedic literature also has this, there is a, they are written for so people, those who are interested in sense gratification. But it's a regulated sense gratification, and also it gradually it can gradually proceed to the finally to the liberated platform later. If they follow it gradually, it will take long time, but it is designed like that. But Vedavyas is not satisfied after compiling this portion of the Vedas, because he is not directly teaching Krishna consciousness. He is not happy, but still he wrote those Vedas for those kind of people. And performing activities without Krishna consciousness is a useless waste of time. Bhagavatam, it says that Srama eva hi kevalam. And those people who are interested in sense gratification, they will say, like, they want to do some things from the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, and then they want to go to the heavenly planets and then drink Soma juice. But wherever you go, there is no permanent place other than the serving the Lord in the Goloka Vrindavan, right? But any heavenly planets you go, there are some other kinds of problems, right? Say if Brahmaloka, there is you can live for 300 trillion years on Brahmaloka, but it is equivalent to our 100 years on the earth. And also even these lokas also, sometimes they are being taken over by the demons sometimes. And also, and after your pious activities are done, you will fall down again into the material world. So what is the good in where it's only temporary, and why you have to hanker for that place? We have to, if we are intelligent, we have to think about the eternal life, right? Not coming back to the material world, right? We have to completely go above the birth and death cycle, right? That's our goal. And just as an example, some people, they like to have the having a US passport is very cool. In India, if they will, oh, you have a green card, you have citizenship, they feel so great about that, and that we are living in this country. But problems are there everywhere. Indian problems are there. US, there are other problems. So we are not completely free from problems anywhere we go. And as Krishna says, like, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartina Arjuna Mamupechatu Kauntaya Punarjanmana Vichyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So wherever you go, you have this birth, death, old age, and disease. And also Corona proved that no country is free from anything, right? It is occupying everywhere and destroying people like anything. And we have to seek to a place where there are no material desires. The supreme perfection is called that place, or the supreme perfection is called Krishna consciousness. Whatever the whatever is achieved by the karmis, jnanis, yogis, and is everything in a one stroke. The Krishna consciousness covers everything, and sometimes like spiritual life, some people are not interested on the spiritual life. They will be like, oh, it's too many rules, I cannot do that, and it is very hard for me to give up the, giving up the material attachment. That's the most hard part for everybody. Like that is very hard. And but for example, if you take a band-aid, and when you place a band-aid and you are taking off the band-aid, and how do you take out? You take out in one stroke, right? That is the less painful version. But you want to do like, those people who cannot give up the material life, they'll say, okay, I will do slowly, one by one, little bit, little bit. If you peel the band-aid little bit, and it's going to be more painful, right? It will stuck to the hair and it's more painful, right? Rather than that, it is recommended that you immediately surrender. That means less pain, and you will be if you, rather than one step at a time approach to get rid of the material attachment, you have to go uh, in one stroke, as soon as immediately. But And how can we get rid of the material attachment? It is hard, but we have to develop spiritual attachment instead. Replace it with spiritual attachment. Like you can attach with the deity forms, and you can attach with doing deity services, and you can attach with the devotees of the Lord, and you can attach with the prasadam. And all these things, all the spiritual activities, they make you develop higher taste, so that the material attachments and material desires, they have no place to stay, and then they will leave you. Right. And also there is a one more verse, Bhagavad Gita 2.59. It says, Vishya vinivartante niraharisya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So we have to associate with pure devotees as much as possible. And for this example, it's like very commonly seen in India. Here, I don't get any idea, but India, people ride bicycles, and what they do when they are going, if they are going uphill or something, they will look for a that city buses that go, and then they will hold on to the bus, and they will go with the bus. The bicycle basically it drives with the speed of the city bus, and also with no effort they will go. Like if the pure devotees, they go, they are in the path of going to the Lord. So if we hold on to their lotus feet, then also we can go along with them, right? So that means just to better understand, we have to follow their footsteps. That's what. And then this verse, let me see the verse. Evam pravartitam chakram. This chakram we talked about in the previous verse. That chakram is that grains are living beings needs grains, and grains are coming from the rains. Rains come from the performing yajnas. Yajnas are born of the prescribed duties. Prescribed duties are born from the Vedas. Vedas are coming from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Supreme Personality. Like we are completely dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the chakram. No. And where is my, okay. And one who does not perform yajna, he leads life full of sin, and his life is useless. There is no value for his life. Without yajna, the human life is an animal life. And this anyone whose work is not meant for to elevate him to religion. There is another verse. It is, where is it from? Neha yat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirtha pada sevaye jivan api mruto hisam. This is from the teachings of Kapil Dev. Devahuti is saying these words. Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performance do not raise him to the renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation does not lead him to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing. So it is very, very strong statement that if we don't worship the Lord, that means we are considered dead. That is Tirthapada Seva. Tirthapada means from the Lord's lotus feet. Lotus feet are the destination for all the tirthas, holy places, and reside at the lotus feet of Krishna, and also all the holy places and also holy rivers, Ganga coming from the lotus feet of Krishna, right? Tirthas means holy places, and also we know that Ganga is also coming from the lotus feet of Krishna. So we have to worship Krishna, otherwise we are considered dead. And a person who is a devotee is living, but a person who is not a devotee is considered dead. This is what and also, so basically, like Indriya Rama means sense gratification, right? Yeah, satisfied by sense gratification. So living for sense gratification is sinful. So we have to engage our senses in the service of the Lord of the senses, Rishikesa. That is then only we are living. Otherwise, this life is a waste of life. And that's with that I completed the 2 verses. And what is the time? We have still more time. Okay. Anyone has any questions or comments? Okay. Just okay, I felt like after reading these verses, I recollected that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking with Ramanand Rai, and then I collected some material from that. If anybody interested, I will read it. Or
I'm interested in hearing what you found.
pardon?
I'm interested in hearing what you found.
Oh, okay.
So that can be read.
Thank you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Ramanand Rai, right? Please quote some verses from the scriptures about the ultimate goal of human life. And Ramanand Rai says that Ramanand Rai stated that those who strictly follow the rules and regulations of these 8 social divisions can actually satisfy the Supreme Lord. 8 social divisions are like that we call it Varnashrama Dharma, and right, those are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and also 4 religious orders like that is Sannyasi, Gruhastha, Vanaprastha, and Brahmachari, Sannyasa, Vanaprastha, and Gruhastha. Brahmachari, Gruhastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Those 4 orders, total 8. Then if they follow all the rules and regulations of those 8 social divisions, then they are considered, who does not follow them certainly spoils his human form of life and glides down to the towards hell. One can peacefully achieve the goal of human life simply by following the rules and regulations which apply to oneself. Apparently, mere discharge of the ritualistic duties is not perfection. So, Lord Chaitanya, he didn't accept it. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya said that it was external, indicating that if a man has a material conception of life, he cannot attain the highest perfection, even if he follows all the ritualistic regulations. It is this kind of philosophy is called karma mimamsa. Their conclusion is that one works nicely. God, if one works nicely, God is bound to give good results. Actually, karma mimamsa philosophy stresses the impersonal feature of the supreme absolute truth, because Lord Chaitanya did not like impersonalism. He rejected it. Tell me if you know something beyond this conception of supreme absolute truth, Lord Chaitanya asked. So one has been rejected. Another, and Ramananda Rai coming up with another verse. He says, Yat karosi yadasnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So it is from Bhagavad Gita 9.27. O son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give away, and whatever austerity you undergo to achieve some goal, everything should be dedicated to my service. If you know of something higher, state it. So this one is also then Chaitanya this a worker is simply instructed here to offer the result of his work to the Supreme Lord, but there is no information given to enable one to get out of the material entanglement. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya rejected his proposal. This second also it got rejected. Second verse he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected because it is on the there is no information of how to get out of the material entanglement. So then he gave up. The Ramananda Rai quoted another verse. This we all know. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuja. Give up all kinds of religiousness and just surrender unto me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I shall protect you from all sinful reactions, and you will have nothing to be aggrieved over. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected. Renunciation in itself is not sufficient. There must be positive engagement. Without positive engagement, the highest perfectional stage cannot be attained. Ramananda Rai, then this one is also rejected, right? Cited, then Ramananda cited more evidence from Bhagavad Gita. It's called Brahma Bhota Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. When by cultivating of knowledge, a person realizes himself to be non-different from the Supreme Absolute Truth, he becomes joyful and is freed from all kinds of lamentation and material desires. He suggests that devotional service with full knowledge and spiritual realization is superior. There is no positive engagement in spiritual activity because it is still on the mental plane, it is external. The pure living entity is not liberated unless he is completely engaged in spiritual activity. After this, many are rejected. So, 4 proposals, everything got rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And after the 4th proposal was rejected, Ramananda Rai said that devotional service rendered without any attempt at mental speculation or cultivation of knowledge is the highest stage of perfection. To support this view, he gave evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it says 10.14.3 Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane stita shrutigatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayaso jita pi asitais trilokyam. My dear Lord, one should give up monastic speculation and the cultivation of knowledge altogether. He should begin his spiritual life in devotional service by receiving information of your activities from a realized devotee of the Lord. If one cultivates his spiritual life by adhering to these principles, and keeping himself on the honest path of life, then although your lordship is never conquered, you become conquered by the devotee following such a process. When Ramanand Rai presented this proposal, Lord Chaitanya at once said, yes, this is right. In other words, Lord Chaitanya agreed that this process conforms to his mission. In this stage, there is no possibility of acquiring spiritual knowledge by discharging one's duties in the Varnashrama Dharma system, by devotional service with mixed and with fruitive activity, by renunciation, or by devotional service mixed with the culture of knowledge. Because most people are fallen and because there is no time to elevate them by gradual process, the best course according to Lord Chaitanya is to let them remain in whatever condition they are, but to engage them in hearing the activities of the Supreme Lord, as those activities are explained in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The transcendental message of these scriptures should be heard from the lips of realized souls. In this way, a person may continue to live in whatever condition he is in and still make spiritual progress. Thus, one can surely advance and fully realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated that the attainment of pure love of Godhead is the highest perfectional stage. Out of all the rules, whatever, first we can understand that listening Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotees, and also we have to hear a lot, and then we have to hear from the realized source. Then we will make a spiritual progress and we can surely advance to this. We surely realize Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have to, of course, we have to put them into practice, listening, and we have to put them in practice. Then we can definitely realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone would like to comment or questions?
So, Yugadharma, in the previous verse, Krishna says that it's okay to start with yajnas to demigods, huh?
No. Previous, is it okay to do yajnas for the demigods?
Yeah, it starts that initially, if you're not a transcendentalist, when you offer to the demigods, you ultimately offer to me, or something like that. It says.
Yeah, even in the yajnas, finally the result will go to Vishnu only. In the final prayer, the prayers they are included. All the yajnas they go to the Krishna only, Krishna or Vishnu. Whatever the yajnas we do, there is no other any yajna we perform. That's he is the what is that? What
Yajna Purusha, right?
all all the sacrifice will go to him only. Even we say that it's for demigod we are worshipping this, but the final they go to the Lord.
But it still says that moral. But if you don't think of Krishna and do it, it says it's just moral codes. It's not. It's not useful.
If it's divided for with the Krishna consciousness, it's divided. It's only for show only, it's not correctly done.
Right, but if you're offering to demigods, how can you be thinking of Krishna? Was my question. So it starts by performing yajnas is necessary. One who does not follow regulations is living a very risky life. So, and there are three ways: karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga.
Where is it, Mataji? Which line?
It's the previous purport.
Yeah, 15, right? 15.
Yeah.
Okay, Vedas. These are different names of the Vedas, and afterwards, even before or after?
It's in the purport of the verse. So those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that the sensory conscious person may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity world depends on our own efforts, but on the background arrangement, the Supreme is there. Therefore, the yajnas are aimed at particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. It says indirectly it is the practice of Krishna consciousness. When one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become. So somehow it says that even if you're performing the yajnas for demigods, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But that's the part I was confused with. How can doing yajnas to demigods make one sure to be Krishna conscious?
But anyway, now the yajnas are not perfect anyway. Like, you know,
Right. In today's
if we
yuga,
consider
it's not.
this for this yuga, whatever we are performing, it's not, you know.
Right. It's not reaching reaching Vishnu in a perfect way. Yeah. But it says by performing these yajnas, if one does not become Krishna conscious, then such principles are counted as only moral codes and not that useful.
Oh no, that Mataji. Okay, that will the gradually it will take them. Gradually it will lead them. They may start with demigod worship slowly, and then gradually it's supposed to elevate them. It's a long process. That's how I heard in the lecture.
Mm-hmm.
So then they gradually come to the platform of some kind of platform of Vishnu towards the, after performing some yajnas, they get purified so that they can come to Vishnu. Then if they don't come and drop in the middle, then it's a waste. And initially they don't know like Vishnu is the supreme when they are doing the demigod worship.
Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're directly worshipping Vishnu, even if you do a little bit, it's not wasted, you're saying.
Yeah, therefore the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the indirectly it's practice of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, if they perform the yajnas properly, they are supposed to come to Krishna consciousness towards the end. But if they don't perform that properly, or some problem, maybe they couldn't get it purified or something, then and they end up not coming to Krishna, then such principles are counted as moral codes.
Mm-hmm.
So one should not limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. Yeah. From that, in that lecture, a little bit I heard that these yajnas are these yajnas are meant to from the sense gratification. For the sense gratification, they will start the yajnas. Do this yajna, you will get wealth, or do this yajna to get some beautiful wife or something. The Chandi, worship the Chandi, or whatever. They will do it, but gradually, at least they have some kind of God consciousness, right? Other not like atheists, which they completely deny the yajnas, right? So they may purify after doing some yajnas. They may come to Krishna. They are expected to come to Krishna consciousness after a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But say it's a long process. The easiest is the Krishna consciousness process, but but it is realizing it is very difficult. This also we feel that it's also difficult. Chanting 16 rounds and struggle with the principles. Like. But this moral course, I didn't came across anybody speaking about this one. I heard some few lectures, but maybe I should but I haven't answered you completely, but I will look for the answer, Mataji.
Mhm. So I think the verse is saying that morality alone is not enough without Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Yes, the examples I gave, only religion is not enough, and only renunciation is not enough. Only pure bhakti is the one we have to look for it. Once we get the pure bhakti to Krishna, that will surpass all these things. There is that Devahuti verse, that's what it says.
But even as we're aspiring for Krishna consciousness, we still have sensory attachments,
Yes, Mataji, that's what we are trying to practice, right? Like, do as much as you can with the engaging in Krishna's service, right? You are doing your best, Mataji. Like, you are the best example, You
Oh
are
no,
planning both morning calls, evening calls, and then
it's
doing in the lunch break as much as you can.
mechanical calls don't make a devotee.
Like, you are I think it is also service you are doing. I think, like, you sit and listen and you judge, like you give a comment and how we can improve. Also, we will learn from you, Mataji. As a senior devotee, we get yours association, all those.
Senior in age only.
No, Mataji. Like that is you are humble. That means that you are advanced. That's what. If we think we are great, that means we are not there yet. Neophyte.
I wish I was humble. You guys are doing so much service, doing all this research and giving lectures. I know it's not easy.
No, Mataji, I'm like, I last minute I struggle. I should be prepared, all the time. I end up giving Thursdays classes, so I have to be more prepared. But I try to do as much as possible.
Sometimes it's hard, when you have other activities too. But you gave a lot of thoughtful points and you quoted a lot of nice verses.
Thank you, Mataji. I think we can offer prayers. It's already 8:09. Okay. And you have any questions, Mataji?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay. Anybody has any questions or anything? Okay, we can offer the prayers to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha.
पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय योगदास माता जी की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna everyone.